You were listening to KFI Los Angeles. Time signal, 17 seconds before 5 o'clock. Bruin watch time at Leroy's. For the newest in diamond setting, see Leroy's melting creation. Your old diamonds reset while waiting. Nothing down? Leroy's term, 633 South Broadway.
Maxwell House Coffee presents Good News of 1938. Another hour behind the scenes in Hollywood, brought to you by Maxwell House Coffee from the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, home of the screen's greatest stars. So imagine yourself with us on stage 30. Tonight, we welcome as our special guest, Miss Joan Crawford. You'll also hear Fanny Bryce and Hanley Stafford, Frank Morgan, Douglas MacPhail, and Meredith Wilson. I'm yours. Meredith starts the program with a new tune called Something Tells Me.
Something tells me I'm falling in love. Something tells me you're sent from above. Not the stars or the man in the moon. So I'm certain they set the stage and open the curtain. Something tells me my waiting is through. I hope something is telling you true. Something whispers that we'll never part. And something tells me it's my heart. Something tells me I'm falling in love. Something tells me you're sent from above. Not the sun or the man in the moon. So uncertain they set the stage and pull the curtain. This is why I know I'm certain. Something tells me my waiting is through. I hope something is telling you true. Something whispers that we'll never part. So I'll be waiting, calculating, till a little something comes along and tells me it's my heart.
And here's your host for the evening, Robert Young.
Thank you, Ted. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a swell program for you tonight, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Wait a minute.
What?
What's going on, Frank?
Hello, Bob. Hello, Meredith. Well, you can go right ahead and start. I'm ready to sing.
You're going to sing? Why?
Well, by popular demand. You know, I was a sensation when I sang that song last week. Why, I must have received at least 40,000 telegrams from my admirers.
How many?
40. Well, I guess there's about 5,000.
5,000 telegrams from your admirers?
Well, anyway, I got a postcard from my brother.
Oh, that's fine. Your brother liked your singing.
No, he didn't like it at all, Bob. In fact, he was the one who begged me not to become a singer.
Well, Frank, nobody can say you're not a loyal brother.
I've got... Oh, sure. Well, what do you mean? Bob, when it comes to singing, Morgan bows to no man. Who do you think invented bel canto? Who do you think invented pear-shaped tones? Who do you think was the first man to touch high C without bending his knees? Francisco Morgano of La Scala, known to you, my Neanderthal friend, as Frank Morgan the Clown. That's Pagliacci.
Frank, are you trying to give people the impression you were in grand opera?
Son, or possibly I should say figlio, I was grand opera. No opera was ever written in which I did not play the leading role. I'll never forget the opening night of La Juive at the Metropolitan. The Diamond Horseshoe was crowded to the gunnels. With the cream of the elite, if I may mix a metaphor.
Yeah, well, mix me one too, Frank. Easy on the soda.
Yes, there's plenty of Angostura. That's a family plug. As I finished the last thrilling note of the big arioso in Act One, with the violin screaming underneath me, pandemonium broke loose. The Blue Bloods forgot convention. Mrs. Vanderpool ripped the pearls from her throat and dashed them on the floor of her box. Mrs. Stuyvesant hurled her diamond stomacher into the air. 40,000 voices screamed for Morgano.
They wanted you to come back, huh?
Wanted me? They dared me. They don't appreciate opera in this country, Bob. I had to go back to Milano, where singing is valued at its true worth.
Now, just a minute, Francisco. Don't tell me you managed to fool the people in Milano.
I certainly did. I mean, why should I fool anybody? I studied under the greatest master in all Italy, Scipinelli. One of those cases where the pupil outshone the master.
You're comparing yourself to Scipinelli?
Is it possible, Filio, that your ear is so ill-trained, your taste so coarse, you think that Scipinelli had a finer voice than mine?
Why, there's no comparison. His high notes were like a nightingale.
Yeah.
He trilled like a meadowlark.
Uh-huh.
His lower register was like the notes of a thrush. Why, Scipinelli could do anything a bird could do.
Could he lay an egg? Now, listen, Bob, a man of your staggering musical ignorance would be drawn and quartered in Milano. Why, in Milano, Morgano was the idol of the populace. In fact, I was the idol most of the time. But that was before my big success in La Tosca. After that, I played in Traviata, I sang in La Bohème, and in Faust, I did Thais, Rigoletto, Carmen.
Who played the title role in Carmen?
I did. I always play the title role.
Oh. Frank, you're slipping. Do you mean to tell me you played the cigarette girl in the opera?
Well, she wasn't bad. I did better with the barmaid in the saloon across the street. Oh, you mean the cigarette girl in Carmen?
Yes.
Oh, well, with Carmen, I had the same rule as with all my other beautiful leading women. Our relations were strictly business until the curtain came down.
I'll bet you were terrific, all right.
Oh, that's about it, Bob. When I was singing at Milano, I used to get 50,000 lira a night.
Yeah, well, that's reasonable. But if you were so sensational, Frank, why did you give up your operatic career?
Oh, yes. Well, it's a very natural question, my boy, and the answer is rather a paradox. But the fact is, I was getting too much money. I had to quit.
No. Take it easy, Frank.
Now, Bob, if I'm not telling the truth, I hope Meredith Wilson's hair falls out.
Oh, no.
Here's the way it was. They were paying me this enormous sum of money because people wouldn't come to the opera unless Francisco Morgano was the star. Naturally, to make a profit, the impresario had to shave expenses in other directions. I began doubling in important roles. For instance, one night I had to sing both ends of the bull in Carmen. But things went from bad to worse until one night came the finish.
I'm breathless.
A capacity audience came to hear me do Lucia. 9 members of the cast had been dismissed, so I had to sing their roles. The conductor had been fired, too, so I had to run back and forth between the stage and the pit to lead the band. I had to sing the famous sextet, all 6 voices at once. And I wouldn't have had any trouble with that except the flute player fainted, and I had to play his instrument out of the side of my mouth.
That must have slowed you up a bit.
No, it didn't slow me up, but believe me, at the end of the performance, my hands were certainly blistered.
Your hands?
Well,
how'd you get your hands blistered?
You just try pulling one of those curtains up and down for bows.
Ah, Frank, I believe the whole thing is a figment of your imagination.
Bob, never raise your fist until you're ready to strike. Would you like to hear me dish out a little opera?
Well, if you can dish it out, I certainly can take it.
Well, you're going to get it. Meredith?
Yes, Frank?
Now, let me see, Meredith. Can you fake Vesti la Juba in the key of G?
I can fake anything, Frank.
Yes?
I'm the greatest faker in the world.
I know. Well, just let me have it, please. Maestoso cantabile con molto espressione.
Okay, I'll do it for you on the piano, Frank.
Yes, and I'm not only going to sing this famous aria in the original Italian, but I will positively translate it into flawless English as I go along. Maestro? Vesti la Juba. Well, that means button up your vest. It's very cold in Italy. E la faccia in farina. Well, that's Italian for a little more cream on my farina. La gente paga e ride volo qua. Well, now, la gente paga, that means pogo stick. E ride volo qua. Well, the whole thing means to ride a polo stick is very pleasant. I don't know what that has to do with the story, but anyway, just continue, Meredith. Hey, la Cina, Cina vola colombina.
Wait a minute, Frank. The laugh doesn't come in there.
I know, but I was thinking of a little Italian joke. I can't help it. Re pagliaccio, poi con auf Ladigar, Ramtain, Lazy. Well, that's the same thing in English. Crazy, pagliaccio, old morren, bralto, crazy, teletol, che t'avellina, il
Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, that was Frank Morgan you just heard singing Vestal Juba. But as Al Jolson once said when he followed Caruso, you ain't heard nothing yet. So wait till you hear Douglas MacPhail present My Land and Your Land. Show 'em, Doug.
It's my land and your land from Frisco to Maine, the North and Southland too. I sing this song to you. My home and your home in sunshine or rain. I promise to be true, for I'm so proud of you. Oh, let's all celebrate. Tell the world is great. There are 48 reasons why it's my land and your land, the land we love. Oh, say, have you seen your America? Have you seen the Spanish shore? Oh, say, have you seen America? From the plains of Idaho down to Mexico. Have you seen the fields of Iowa? Have you crossed the great divide? Have you seen all the glories of Washington? Oh, say, have you seen your America? From the hills of Tennessee. Oh, say, have you seen America? From the San Francisco Bay to the Great White Lake. Have you seen Dakota's prairie land and the Lone Star's Alamo? Have you seen the Valley Forge and the Delaware? Have you seen a certain statue with its giant pot aglow? That's my land and your land, from Frisco to Maine, the North and South and too. I sing this song to you. Let's all celebrate. Tell the world is great. There are 48 reasons why it's my land and your land, the land we love.
Doug, you really showed him. Oh, Mama, that pile is here again. Enter Daddy's little demon baby Snook. Today, after 2 flat tires and plenty of engine trouble, we find Daddy Hanley Stafford and baby Snooks at the end of a 90-mile drive to their new beach home. Daddy Snooks didn't feel too good when he started, so you can imagine how he feels now. Listen.
Daddy,
What is it?
why are you stopping?
Because we finally arrived at our beach house, thank heaven.
Are you glad?
I'll say I am.
Then why'd you tell Mama you didn't like it?
Never mind. Get out and look at the ocean.
Is this the mountains, Daddy?
No, this is the seashore. We're going to spend the summer here.
Where?
Right here by the sea.
Well, there's a mountain.
There aren't any mountains here, just the sand and the ocean.
But you told Mama we'd be going to the mountains.
I know I did.
And why did we come here?
Because this is better than the mountains.
Why?
Because the sea air is much more health-giving, the saltwater bathing is better, the sun is stronger, and it's a much nicer place to spend the summer. Now, do you know why we came here?
Uh-huh. Because Mommy didn't like the mountains.
That has nothing to do with it. But we'll go to the mountains next year, all right. What are you laughing at?
That's what you said last year.
Oh, keep quiet. Why, the seashore is fine. It's magnificent. Look at those white caps on the ocean.
Uh-huh.
Break, break, break on thy cold gray toe, O sea. Roll on, thou mighty ocean, roll.
Oh, look at Daddy.
What?
It's doing what you said.
Well, what about it?
Now make a roll back.
Oh, come on. Let's go in the house and look the place over.
Did you buy the place, Daddy?
No, we're just renting it for 3 months. And that's too long. I hope the furniture's halfway decent.
Daddy,
Yes?
why don't Mommy like the mountains?
Because she wants to go to the seashore.
Why?
She has to come here for her asthma.
Did she leave it here?
No, she claims it makes her feel better. How do you like this broken-down house?
Oh, I like it.
Now, you would. You're getting more like your mother every day.
How'd you get upstairs, Daddy?
This is a bungalow. There isn't any upstairs.
Now, where am I going to sleep?
Downstairs.
Down what stairs?
Down no stairs. There aren't any stairs.
You said I'm going to sleep downstairs.
I know I did, but in this case, downstairs means right here. You're going to sleep on this floor. What's the matter?
I don't want to sleep on the floor.
Oh, stop that. You'll sleep in a bed, only everything is on this one floor.
Oh. Daddy,
Now what do you want?
where's the bed?
That thing right there in the corner.
Well, that don't look like a bed.
I know it doesn't, but it is just the same. It's a day bed.
Huh?
It's a day bed.
Well, where do I sleep at night?
Right there. A day bed is only for sleeping in the nighttime.
Is a night bed for sleeping in the daytime?
No.
Well, why do they call that a day bed?
Because a day bed's a sofa that's made up at night as a bed, and during the day it's a couch which nobody sleeps on, so a day bed is really a night bed, only it's not a bed at all.
Do you feel all right, Daddy?
No, I feel terrible. And don't bother me with any more questions. I've got to check the inventory.
What's that?
Well, the woman who owns the house made a list of all the things in it. I want to be sure they're here.
Can I look around, Daddy?
Well, go ahead. But don't break anything.
I won't.
Now, let's see this list. I guess this is the living room, such as it is. Well, where's the linen?
Daddy,
Now, what's happened?
is Uncle Louie on that list?
No, of course not.
Well, he's in that room.
Now, what are you talking about? Where's Uncle Louie?
There he is. He's looking through the hole in the wall.
Oh, that's not Uncle Louie. That's a moose head.
Ah.
If there's one thing I hate, it's a moose head.
Why?
Because I'm allergic to moose hairs. They give me hay fever.
What's hay fever?
It's an illness that has nothing to do with hay, and it doesn't cause a fever. And don't ask me if I feel all right.
Well, let's take him down.
Let's take who down?
Uncle Louie.
I told you that's a moose.
What's a moose?
It's a big lumbering thing with antlers and a fat nose like a hog and a shapeless body like a cow. Is that Uncle Louie?
No, that's Aunt Sophie.
It's nothing of the kind. Now, come on out of here while I check the stuff in the living room.
All right, Daddy.
She's got marked on this list 2 dozen Wedgwood cups and saucers. $10 apiece. Wonder where they are.
Is this some, Daddy?
Now, Snooks, stop climbing on that shelf.
I want to count the cups and saucers.
Now, be careful. That's very expensive china.
Whee!
Stop rocking on that china closet. Snooks,
Whee!
look out for that Wedgwood. Oh, good heavens. You smashed the whole thing to pieces.
Yeah.
$480 worth of china.
Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful mess.
you like it, Daddy?
How can I ever pay for all that stuff? Oh, $480. What'll I do?
I know. Let's go to the mountains.
Danny, that was swell. And now a word from Ted Pearson.
Thank you, Bob. Friends, let's look in at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, a few blocks off Main Street, anywhere in America. Breakfast time, and Mr. Smith has just set down his coffee cup.
Well, I've got to be going. A little late this morning.
Dear, you scarcely touched your coffee. Several mornings now you've left your cup half full. Don't you like it?
Oh, I don't know. Yes, it's all right, I guess. Well, so long, dear. I'll see you tonight.
If this or something like this has happened in your home, if your husband has been leaving his coffee cup half full mornings when you know he's ordinarily so fond of coffee, well, then I've a suggestion. Won't you try Maxwell House coffee? You see, most men do have pretty decided likes and dislikes about coffee. They know a cup of coffee they like the minute they taste it, and most men do like the extra smooth, the especially mellow flavor of Maxwell House coffee. Watch them at any gathering or at home, and you'll notice how they savor the full-bodied, roaster-rich flavor, the really satisfying goodness of Maxwell House. And, of course, they enjoy the feeling of warmth and well-being that's always there, too, in a steaming, fragrant cup of this famous coffee. They appreciate, too, the friendly stimulation that buoys you up and never lets you down. So get a can of Maxwell House tomorrow morning. Treat your husband, yes, and yourself, to a cup of Maxwell House coffee at breakfast and at dinner. I'll wager you'll hear your husband say, "This Maxwell House is the coffee for my money. I'll have another cup, please."
Ladies and gentlemen, we inaugurate this evening for our Maxwell House audience a new feature of our program, which will grow in time, we hope, to become an institution. We're calling it the MGM Theater of the Air, and it is our plan to present here, from time to time, distinguished pieces of dramatic writing, especially suited to radio, and played by MGM's outstanding stars. To open our imaginary new playhouse, Miss Crawford has chosen a dramatic interlude that is neither playlet nor sketch, but a kind of soliloquy in words and music. It was written by Arch Obler and is called Dark World. To play it, we present one of the brightest stars in all the blue sky of Hollywood, Joan Crawford. tonight's drama. Miss Crawford plays the part of Carol Matthews. The scene, a hospital room. 2 nurses are in the room. One of them is writing on a chart.
Died 2 a.m. Carol Matthews. Oh, Margaret. Margaret, let's get out of here.
Why, Amy, what's the matter? Oh, now, Amy.
I can't help it.
I just don't get it. All the time you've been on the staff, I've never seen you act this way over losing a case. And especially this one. Blind and paralyzed and helpless.
Oh, that's just it. For 25 years, from the hour she was born, Carol Matthews had nothing but loneliness and misery. And then to die like that, never having known anything but darkness. Oh, it isn't fair. It isn't fair.
She liked you, didn't she, Amy?
Yes, I think she did. When I'd come into the room, she always seemed to know. She'd turn her face toward the door, and she'd say very softly, "Hello, Amy." "Hello, Amy."
Hello, Amy. Hello, Amy. No, you can't hear me, can you? And yet I must speak while I'm still here close to you. You said I'd never known anything but darkness. You're very wrong, Amy. There was never any darkness in my room. How could there be? The skies that I saw never clouded. The flowers never faded. The trees were always fresh and green. I saw a lovely world in my darkness, Amy. Lovely.
And to think, Margaret, all those years in bed, never moving, nothing happening, day after day after day. If she'd had my eyes, if she could have moved around like I do, the world would have been hers.
The world, Amy? Why do you want to give me what I've already had? I had so much. Yes, lying there, I had the world. Don't you remember? You gave it to me. Victor Hugo and Joseph Conrad and all the rest. Theirs weren't just words printed on white pages as you read them to me. They were white, flaming magic that carried me far away from here to the sea. The wind and the hurricane, men fighting for life. I tell you, I was there. I was there. Oh, Amy, have you forgotten Charles Dickens, Paris? The roar of the streets in the Revolution, crowds pushing, fighting all round me, and all the world dying and a new one struggling its way up through blood. And I was there. Amy, I was there. Oh, yes. Whatever you read to me, Amy, wherever the place or whatever the time, the past or the future, that's where I was, Amy. How could you forget?
And Margaret, she must have been very lonely. No one ever coming here to visit her. No one in the world who cared whether she lived or died. So lonely. So lonely.
Lonely? Oh, Amy. Didn't you ever understand about my friends? Why, they were the greatest friends a woman ever had. I chose them from the good and the great. They used to come into this room, yes, and talk to me. The Brownings, oh, such charming people. And Shakespeare. I used to argue with him. And Keats. And Walt Whitman. Oh, yes, he was here, too. He taught me not to be afraid. Don't you remember how he said, I was thinking the day most splendid till I saw the night. I was thinking this globe enough till there sprang out so noiseless around me myriads of other globes. Lonely. Oh, my dear, was ever a woman more fortunate than I? The box that stood beside the bed. You talked of playing records. But again, it was a visit from my friends. Beethoven, here in my room when I was weary. He understood. He'd play so softly, with tired fingers. Here, I tell you. And I'd know it was for me. And Schubert, and Brahms, and Mozart, and all of them, my friends. Lonely. Oh, no, Amy, the days weren't long enough.
And she was so beautiful. So very beautiful. I don't know exactly how to say it, but she was like a flower, hidden away in a dark forest. Every time I'd go out with Danny, I used to think of her lying here, more beautiful than anyone I've ever known. And she had no one. No one.
No one, Amy. There was someone. His name? Well, he didn't have a name. But he was there when I was tired and needed him. Oh, yes, you had your Danny. But in your heart, Amy, I knew there was someone else. Someone that you had dreamed of. Someone you'd never meet, perhaps. Someone you'd forget, as all women forget when they marry their Dannies. But I didn't have to forget the one in my heart, Amy. He was real to me. As real as my friends that came to me with their words and music whenever I stretched out my hand. As real as that lovely world that was mine alone. A dream world, Amy. What are dreams? What is real and unreal? We see only what we want to see. I made a world in my darkness where everyone walked in loveliness. Where things were as they might someday be. It's almost time, Amy. Yes, I hear you. Yes. I must move on, Amy. Thank you for your pity. But pity is only for those who have nothing. And I had a world where all was beauty. Oh, yes, Amy, believe me. I was very happy.
That was truly a marvelous performance, Joan.
Thank you, Bob.
Joan, I think you've set a very high standard for our new MGM Theater of the Air. If we can keep it going as well as you've started it, we'll be doing a swell job.
You kidding?
No, I really mean it. And I think that right now you ought to make a curtain speech, just to give the official touch to our theater opening.
Well, Bob, you know, working in pictures, how little practice we get in making curtain speeches. But I would like to say that I'm extremely proud that I was chosen to inaugurate your MGM Theater of the Air.
Thank you, Joan. And you'll stick around for the rest of the program and say hello to some of the other people, won't you?
I wouldn't miss it, Bob.
Oh, say, Ted Pearson.
Yes, Bob?
Isn't it about time for that friendly custom of ours on these Thursday nights? A moment of relaxation over a steaming cup of Maxwell House coffee?
It sure is, Bob. But first, didn't I overhear something about you suddenly becoming a coffee connoisseur?
Oh, that. Well, I was just telling about an incident that happened a couple of days ago. I was lunching with some friends at one of Hollywood's more famous restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
My friends were ribbing me about some of the things I've said about Maxwell House coffee on Good News here. They bet me I couldn't tell the difference between coffee by taste.
Yes?
Well, Ted, when the waiter brought the coffee, the boys started saying how good it was. I tasted it and told them, of course it was good. It was Maxwell House. I could tell by the flavor.
What was it?
Well, the funny part of it was that this restaurant hadn't been serving Maxwell House. The boys knew it and called the waiter over to prove I was wrong. When asked what kind of coffee we just had, the waiter said, Maxwell House, we just started serving it today. You can't fool young about coffee, not anymore.
You're all right, Bob. Now, friends, you're all invited, everybody, both here and at home, to join us in a cup of this coffee that's good to the last drop. Meredith, how about pouring out a little music for us? pause briefly for station identification.
You are listening to KFI, Los Angeles.
This is Bob Young continuing with the good news of 1938.
Excuse me, Bob. How do I look?
You look all right. Oh, wait a minute. You combed your hair.
Combed it. I had it cut.
Oh, so that's where you were over the weekend, in a barber shop.
Weekend? Did the whole thing Saturday afternoon. 2 men.
Oh.
How does it look in the back?
Well, I think Miss Crawford will like it. You've never met Joan, have you, Meredith?
No. I was wondering if Frank Morgan would introduce me to her. He knows her so well.
Ah, he's full of wet hay. He doesn't know Joan Crawford. Why, he's the biggest bluffer, braggart, blowhard that ever lived.
You calling me, Bob?
Here's Frank now. I'm going to run out and run a comb through my hair again. I'll see you later.
Well, what's going on here, Bob? Why is Meredith all spruced up today?
Ah, he's got a reason. Say, Frank, will you tell me something confidentially?
Anything at all, Filio.
Filio. Do you really know Joan Crawford as well as you say?
Do I? Well, how well did I say I knew her?
Well, you said you'd been a good friend of hers for years.
Well, I must have been crazy. I mean, I know Joan very well. To you, she's a glamorous, unattainable creature, a star of the cinema. But to me, Joan is just a pal, a girl whom I've helped professionally, known socially, assisted financially.
Now, wait a minute, Frank. Huh? Joan Crawford never needed any financial help from you.
Well, possibly I didn't put that quite accurately. She once loaned me $1, and in due course I returned it.
I can hardly believe that either. But you really know her.
Well, every time she sees me, she gives me a big kiss.
Well, Frank, Meredith Wilson is pretty anxious to make an impression on her. Why don't you fix it up for her?
Is she still here?
Sure.
Oh.
What's the matter?
Well, I've got shooting pains in my back. I've been stabbed.
But, Frank, I thought you felt fine.
No, I never felt worse in my life. It's a recurrence of my old anurosis of the alpha delta.
Oh, well, that's terrible. Shall I get a doctor?
No, I just think I'd better go home.
No, you're not going home until you've had a showdown with Joan Crawford.
What?
You're going to stay right here and face the music. Right after Meredith plays it.
Oh, why did I ever build this house of cards?
Meredith has been playing such sensational treatments of popular songs besides his concert hall numbers that the other day I asked him who was responsible for his popular arrangements. He finally broke down and told me he made them himself. And so I respectfully call your attention to a new one, Meredith's own fictions of Limehouse Blues. That was really swinging at Meredith.
Don't talk to me, Bob. What do you think I did 5 minutes ago? What? I poured the cream in Joan Crawford's Maxwell house.
You didn't.
I did. And you know what else?
What?
I don't think she knows Frank Morgan.
I told you that. You noticed he disappeared about 15 minutes ago.
The big phony. There he is now, sneaking in the side door. Grab him.
Hey, Frank, come over here, you faker.
Oh, hello, fellas. I got to go home. I forgot something when I left the house this morning.
What did you forget?
Well, I forgot to stay there. You know, I'm suffering from diaphoresis of the thrombolo.
In plain English, you mean you're scared to meet Joan Crawford.
Certainly. Who's scared? Why, I could meet her 20 times and never bat an eyelash. Joan and I are just like that. I've known her ever since I was a baby. I mean, ever since she was a baby. And what a baby. Oh, yeah. She's gone home, hasn't she?
Don't be silly. She wouldn't leave without saying hello to her old friend, Frank Morgan. Eh, Meredith?
No, sir.
Hey, Joan.
There's that pain again. Microphagy of the hemoglobin. I got to go home.
Hello, boys.
Hello, Joan. Here's an old friend of yours, Joan.
Hee.
Why, Ducky Morgan.
Who turned the lights out?
Ducky Morgan? Joan, do you know him?
Of course I know him. Ducky. Have you forgotten Twinkie Crawford?
Twinkie?
Yeah, I thought she said Twinkie, too.
But I am Twinkie.
Yeah, and I'm Ducky.
Well, if you're Twinkie and he's Ducky, I'm Wacky.
I can't believe it.
Oh, those are just pet names, Bob. We called each other Ducky and Twinkie during one of the most hilarious weekends I ever spent in my life. It was at a house party on Lake Winnipesaukee.
Oh, sure. Now it all comes back to me. Good old Lake Winnipesaukee. Right in the middle of Illinois.
New Hampshire.
Oh, yes. That's right. Oh, did they move it again? Anyhow, I'll never forget the sun rising every morning over Mount Baldy.
That's right.
It is?
Of course, Ducky. And don't you remember every morning you'd go fishing and I'd go along to carry your creel?
Oh, you carried my creel. Yes. Oh, the fishing was marvelous at Lake Winnipesaukee. Bob, finest fly fishing I ever saw in my life.
Fly fishing? Wet or dry?
Well, I always had a bottle with me.
Yes, the creel was full of them.
No kidding, Bob. I took more trout from that lake, Winnipesaukee, than ever before in your life. I never saw such game fish. Why, all the girls at the house party used to come running down the lake and cluster around me while I fished.
What kind of bait did you use?
Well, I'd just wink at them, and they'd follow me right down the lake. Oh, you mean the fish? Oh.
Yes, Ducky.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I can't believe it. Taking my line there.
Meredith, don't take it so hard.
Well, it was a good line.
So this will surprise you, but I don't think the fellows here believe that you and I were so clubby. In fact, I was beginning to doubt it myself.
Oh, Ducky, you always were crazy.
Well, I still am. Isn't it wonderful?
Well, Joan, I've got to admit I was a little suspicious. Possibly I owe my colleague here an apology.
My dear sons, think nothing of it. To err is human, to forgive divine. I forgive you. You too, Meredith.
I can't believe it.
The winner!
Well, I've got to run along. You boys have been swell to me. Goodbye, Meredith. Goodbye, Bob. And I can hardly wait to get home and tell Franco that I found my old friend Ducky here.
Oh, yeah. Say hello to Franco for me, Twinkie.
Oh, I will. He'll certainly be thrilled to know I ran into our good old Ralph Morgan.
Ralph Morgan. Oh, my back. I've got a sudden attack of arthrosis of the hypercoming. I'll see you later, fellas. Call me at the hospital. So long.
Well, of course, anyone can see that Meredith Wilson has been under quite a strain this evening. So it shouldn't surprise you, me too, learn that his next musical number will be a medley of Spanish songs, sung by Douglas MacPhail, a Scotch boy, and Zarova, a Russian girl. Meredith, who will lead this fandango, is from Mason City, Iowa. Go ahead, senor.
of the Toreador and fair senoritas flashing eyes. Lady of Spain, I adore you. Right from the night I first saw you, my heart has been yearning for you. What else could any heart do?
Ladies of Spain are a kidding, charming and very receiving.
All that my eyes are revealing. Lady of Spain, sing to me.
Che veloce signorito, non vale más que un real. Comprende usted seranito, comprende usted seranito, a lucir I'm
sorry, but I couldn't understand a single word. Please sing another song I may have heard.
Tonight, I want to ask a question. Do you make your coffee by the drip method? Well, if you do, then let me ask, are you like so many women having trouble in making a good cup of drip coffee? Coffee uniformly rich and full-flavored day in and day out?
Frankly, I am. I use a high-grade coffee, watch my proportions, take care in every step. And yet the drip coffee I make doesn't seem to be as uniformly good as I've tasted. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, I have a suggestion. Buy Maxwell House coffee. And be sure to ask for the special drip grind.
Is it so important that I ask for coffee that comes especially ground for my drip coffee maker?
Yes, it's vitally important. Now, I'll tell you why. When you make coffee correctly in a drip pot or glass coffee maker, the water passes through the coffee only once. Now, this means that the coffee you use for the drip method must be ground finer and uniformly, so that all the full flavor and goodness of the coffee is extracted quickly. Now, that's why the Maxwell House people, after scientific study of all ways of making drip coffee, offer you this special drip grind Maxwell House. So to make a rich, full-flavored, full-bodied cup of coffee every single time, be sure to buy Maxwell House in the grind made specially for your coffee-making method. Now, if you use a drip pot or glass coffee maker, choose the special drip grind Maxwell House. And, of course, to get the same rich, delicious coffee by the percolator or boiled method, by the regular grind Maxwell House. you'll enjoy the smoother, more mellow flavor of this delicious coffee in Maxwell House. And then you, too, will be sure to get coffee absolutely fresh. You see, Maxwell House is packed in the airtight super vacuum can. And so when you buy your coffee, it's always not merely days fresh, but roaster fresh. So ask for Maxwell House coffee, the coffee that's always good to the last drop.
And now, we present another in our series of satires titled, If Men Went to Market as Women Do. In this case, the man in charge of the market is Baby Snook's daddy, Hanley Stafford, chief clerk and owner of Stafford's Bargain Market. All kinds of fruits, vegetables, meats, fish, and groceries for the economical house husband. Frank Morgan, shopping basket under his arm, is just about to enter the market when he sees yours truly.
You, Young, it's me, Morgan, over here in front of the onions.
Oh, hello there, Morgan. My, aren't you the one with that adorable little shopping basket?
Oh, do you really like it? I weaved it myself.
You did?
Yes.
I can't believe it. Now, why can't I be handy like that? It's just darling.
Well, I'm taking lessons at the new weaving class in our athletic club.
Well, how did you ever manage to weave all those little doodads in there like that?
Oh, it's as easy as pie. You should see the precious little cigar box I'm making for my nephew Wilbur's hope chest.
Wilbur?
Uh-huh. He's getting married, you know. Finally.
Oh. Well, who's the lucky girl?
His mother. You mean the girl. Well, she's rather nice, if you like the type. She's got a nice job and all, drives a taxi. But, of course, Wilbur's father had higher hopes for him.
Oh, wanted him to marry into society, huh?
Yes, but this female traffic destroyer came along and just swept Wilbur off his feet.
Well, let's all hope it works out for the best.
Well, they do say she's awfully good to her first husband, and she's made Wilbur a lot of promises.
Yeah. I know those before marriage promises, but after the ceremony, things are different. I know.
Oh, trouble, huh?
Well, you know me, I never like to complain.
Well, you can pour out your heart to me, Young. You know, we've been chums ever since school days.
Oh, those good old school days. What a whiz you were with playing jacks.
Oh, go on. I could never do foursies and fivesies like you could.
Oh, but Morgan, we can't stand out here in front of the market reminiscing. I have to get my shopping done.
Yes, me too. Say, I know what let's do. We'll shop together, and I can spot the bargains you overlook, and you can see some I might overlook.
Oh, goody. That'll be oodles of fun.
Say, Young, isn't that a nice-looking head of cabbage over there?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen Meredith Wilson lately?
Oh, you mean Loudmouth? Oh, I've never heard a man rave so much about his own cooking.
Him and his home cooking.
Yes, if he ever lost that can opener, he'd starve to death.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, Morgan. Don't look now, but isn't that Wilson over there at the meat counter talking to Hanley Stafford, the butcher?
Yeah, where? Oh, yes, of course, that's Wilson with the parsley in his nose.
Parsley in his nose? Oh, Morgan, you're looking at the pig's head in the showcase.
Oh, I'll have to get these glasses fixed.
Morgan and Young.
Oh, he spotted us. We might as well get it over.
Hello, you two.
Well, hello, Wilson.
You boys know Stafford the butcher here, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Hiya, Butch.
Hello, Stafford.
Hello, boys. Something, Stafford, your little butcher can do for you today?
Well, how's your liver?
Fine, thanks. How's yours? Fine, indeed. Oh, fine. Yes, and I also have some lovely pork chops on sale today. Only a measly 19 cents a pound.
Well, what do you think, Morgan?
Well, I don't know. Now, that leg of lamb over there looks cute.
Yes, and lamb is just the thing when you're trying to keep your weight down.
Yes, well, then why don't you buy it?
It's just this coat. It does make me look a little chubby, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
What are you getting for dinner, Wilson?
Oh, I guess we'll have the usual Thursday night filet mignon with mushrooms au gratin and maybe some crepe Suzette.
Oh, is your wife working again, Wilson?
We never have anything but the very best on our table. And on Thursday nights, it's always filet mignon and crepe Suzette.
Here's your tripe, Mr. Wilson.
Right. Yes, it's on Wednesday nights we have the filet. Thursday night is cook's night out, you know. so we usually have something simple to prepare. How much is the tripe, Butcher?
25 cents.
Oh, well, I think 10 cents worth will be enough.
Oh, you're sure you're not buying too much?
Oh, no, that'll be fine. And maybe you have a few bones you can give me for my dog. And you always give me a little parsley and soup greens. And would I be imposing if I asked for a little suet? And do you mind wrapping it in today's newspaper? I'm a good customer.
Stafford, you're lucky he didn't ask you to throw in a turkey for nothing.
Is there something you other men want?
Well, we'll just look around a little first.
Better hurry. I'm closing the market in about 10 minutes.
That reminds me, I must get something for dessert.
Oh, me too. I sure wish I could bake. My wife is just mad about summer squash upside-down pie.
Well, why don't you try our pasty pie flour for quickie pie crust? Just add water and bake into a crust.
Oh, it's wonderful. Really, I baked a pie with it this morning for the first time, and it looked lovely.
Oh, excuse me. Hello. Stafford's Bargain Market. Who? Oh, just a second. Oh, Mr. Morgan, it's for you, your wife.
Oh, I guess she's home from work early. Hello, dear. What? Oh, all right. Goodbye. What do you think of that, boys?
What happened?
Oh, well, Alma says that our dog, Bonzo, jumped up on the table and ate the pie I baked this morning.
Oh, well, what does she want you to do? Bake another pie?
No, she wants me to get another dog. Bonzo just died of concrete poisoning.
Meredith Wilson invites you to a reserved seat for the finale in his second concert hall series. This second series has presented 10 of the world's most beloved melodies in 10 different fields of fine music. And as we present the number one melody of the series this evening, I wonder how many of you will be able to guess its title. It is the most beloved American melody. Have you made your guess? Well, now see if you were right. Meredith Wilson presents McDowell's immortal favorite, To a Wild Rose. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
How?
Oh, hello, Snooks. What is it?
What you doing?
I'm telling the people about next week's program.
Why?
So they'll listen.
Listen to what?
To the program.
What program?
This program.
Ah. Why?
Oh, we want them all to know how good Maxwell House coffee is.
Is the program good?
Yes.
And what's the matter with the coffee?
Nothing. It's the best coffee in the world. Now, just keep quiet for a second.
All right.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a special guest, Robert Montgomery, Virginia Bruce, and Gus Kahn, the famous song composer. Plus all our regular favorites, Frank Morgan,
Uh-huh.
Una Merkel,
Uh-huh.
Douglas MacPhail, Meredith Wilson, Hanley Stafford, Fanny Bryce.
Huh?
Fanny Bryce.
Who's she?
Who's she? Why, Snooks, who ripped the seats out of the theater in the Ziegfeld Follies? Who tore down the house and everybody sings? Who stole the picture?
Ah!
What's the matter?
I didn't do it.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that your ticket of admission is just your loyalty to Maxwell House Coffee. And plan to be with us again next Thursday. In the meantime, go to the movies and take the family with you. This is Bob Young saying good night. I'll see you next Thursday.
We salute their excellencies, the mayor of New Orleans, Kansas City, St. Louis, Baltimore, Boston, Indianapolis, Louisville, Memphis, Rochester, and Syracuse. And to Postmaster Clinton McKellar of Memphis, Tennessee, for their splendid cooperation in National Airmail Week, and for the world premiere of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's splendid motion picture Yellow Jack, starring Robert Montgomery and Virginia Bruce. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
KFI Los Angeles, Earl C. Anthony Incorporated. For correct time, all the time, wear a Bulova.